What's going on, growers? James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. It's August 9th today, and so far it's been an excellent growing season, but it's not too late to still get some stuff planted. So today, I want to share with you 7 crops that I'm still planting in August. Let's go! The first crop that I'm still planting in August might be one that surprises you. And that's because in some people's opinion, it may be a little late for it. And this crop is cucumbers. Before I get into detail of it, I just want to explain one thing, and that's the first expected frost date. This date is going to be the guide that's going to help you know when to plant everything in the fall. So it's easy to find out. Just go online, type in your zip code and first expected frost date, and it'll give you the exact date. So for my particular location, my first expected frost date is October 16th. So that gives me about 68 days. What I'm going to do is plant some cucumbers that are short, quick crop cucumbers, like this one right here. This is a Calypso pickling cucumber, only 50 days from seed to harvest. Let me bring it over and put some in the ground. Your first expected frost date, that day, it's not a guarantee that you're going to have frost on that day, and usually there's about a 30% chance that you have frost before that, but there's also a good chance that you don't have frost even later than that. So some years I remember we haven't had like a frost until almost early November, late October. So I like to push the time if I can. So I'll plant things like these cucumbers, even if it gets a little close with timing, because I'd rather try than not try. So this location right here, we had a number of cucumbers that I started weeks ago, and I'll show you in another section where we have ones planted. But what happened was the storm came and it killed some of my cucumbers. It just blew them and snapped some of the stems low down. So we're just gonna replant them. And like I mentioned, we're gonna plant short variety ones. Like this also miniature cucumber right here, this white one, this is only about 50 or 55 days too. So your pickling cucumbers, those ones are gonna go really fast. But there are some cucumbers that you could still plant, like the Suyo Long here, it's only 61 days. So we'll plant a few of those too. What we're gonna do is just get these cucumbers and stick them right in the ground. This way we're, like I said, extending that harvest. So if you live in a section that's a little warmer than me, you may have even more time, 70 or 80 days, or you may only have about 50 days. So when it comes to planting these cucumbers, we're gonna plant them about 6 inches apart, and then just bury the seed, I'd say about 3 to 4 times the size of the seed. Not too deep, and we have made sure we have nice, moist soil here. So we'll just drop those in, like we just did. And then as they start to sprout up, or even now, I'll come and get some leaf mulch that I'll put around the base of these. The second crop that I'm still planting in August is carrots. And around the Prigioni garden, that's one of the all-time favorites. You guys know why, because Tucko is crazy for the carrots. And the thing about carrots is when you plant them in the fall, it's even better than the spring, because as it starts to get really cold out, the sugars in the carrots start to come out and they get even sweeter. So when it comes to carrots, I've got a few little tricks for you because they can be tough to germinate sometimes. So what I like to do is I cut a square board because I'm doing square foot gardening. This is 1 square foot. I'll plant my carrots and then I'll put this board over the top of it for about a week or so, because carrots take about a week or 2 to germinate. Then I'll remove that board. The reason for doing this is keeping the soil moist for a considerable amount of time, not getting any light on the carrots, and helping them germinate and sprout more evenly. So when it comes to square foot gardening, we want 16 in a square foot. So we'll do 4 rows of 4. So what I'm gonna do is just make a few rows. So 1 row, not gonna do it too deep. 2 rows, just little furrows. 3 rows, 4 rows. Let's actually extend this one over. So we'll make 4 little furrows like this. We'll plant extra carrots more than necessary, and then we'll thin them a little bit. I'll give you an example though. One of them we're gonna plant is a short variety one. This is Amsterdam carrots, only 55 days. So this will be ready pretty early. But again, carrots will grow past your first frost date, because your first frost is likely going to be a light frost, not a moderate or a severe one. So they're all based on temperatures. So these carrots are going to go pretty deep into the season. Like I said, I'll overplant the carrots like this, and then after just thin out to about 4. That row is done. After I do the same thing on the other rows, I'll just do a very light dusting over top like this, because carrots, they really don't like to be covered too deeply. After that, I'll water the whole thing, and then put this board on the back of it, and then date it. And then in about 5 days or so, I'll come check it and then make sure that I take it off before anything starts sprouting. I'm not gonna do the same thing for the other rows because it's a bit repetitive, but this just gives you an example of what you can be planting at this time, how to germinate and get it up easily. Because the tough part about carrots right now is that it's so hot, you can see how bad I'm sweating, that it's tough to get them actually germinated and out of the ground because we need them growing pretty well going into the later fall. So we can plant carrots about 2, say 3 months before our last expected frost date. So we're just in that region, just in that time. Let's move over to the next crop now that we're still planting in August. The third crop that I'm still planting in August could also be one that some may say I'm pushing a little bit, but when it comes to this, same thing with the cucumbers, I'm making sure that I select the correct varieties that are short, quick crop varieties. For instance, these dragon tongue beans right here, they only take about 50 to 55 days from harvest. Again, I'm about 68 days on average to my first expected frost date, so we're gonna plant these. What I'm going to do is just remove all these old green beans in this section and give it a little soil, then replant it, but it looks like Tuck maybe came over for a quick bite of one. Here's the purple dove bush beans. These ones are so good. I love these ones. And I'm pretty sure these purple dove bush beans, they're almost like a combination of like a hybrid of a bush and a pole bean. So I forget the exact name of it, but it's like kind of a combination. Tuck loves them so much though. It's so hot at this time of the year. I love eating them too, but I think it's more fun to watch Tuck eat this stuff than me. So we'll give him a little bit of that. And it's been super hot, so I have some water over here for him too, because I talked about it before. One of my issues with Tuck is he's always looking for water to drink in the garden. So I like to try to make sure I've got some fresh water to bring out to him. But while he's drinking that water, what we're going to do is just remove these old beans and then get new ones planted. So ideally what we should be doing is cutting the beans to the base and then leaving the nodules in there to help fertilize the soil, because green beans are legumes, so they'll fix nitrogen to the soil. But I'm just gonna pull them straight out because I didn't put any of the bacteria that's gonna help bring the nodules to it. So you'll notice we don't even have a lot of nodules on there. So nitrogen nodules. If you wanna get more nitrogen nodules, it's good to inoculate your beans and peas before you plant them. So we're just gonna pull these out from the root, and we're gonna try to make sure that we're not damaging any of the plants around it. I've got a number of them planted in here because in this square foot gardening method, we plant about, I think it is 9 beans per square foot, 9 plants. So you can see some of them I missed. I have so many beans to harvest, it's tough to even stay on top of picking them. So we're just gonna continue pulling this out, and then I'm gonna show you what we do next. So we pulled all this out, and the plants took a good amount of nutrition from this section. So what I'm going to do is just bring all the soil back in, and then I made a little bit of soil that I use for container gardening. I'm gonna drop a little bit of that soil in, mix it together, and then get some more beans planted. So we're just gonna add some more fresh soil. And you'll notice this pepper right here. I didn't even see it because it was hidden in the beans. So I've got to stake this up. This is one that fell over in the storm too. Nice production on it though, and this will open up more light so it can produce better. So we added some fresh soil, and when it comes to green beans, you don't want to add a lot of nitrogen to your soil because they are nitrogen fixers. If you add too much nitrogen, then your beans are going to focus on green leaves and not actual beans. So let's get the beans in the ground. Now we're just going to mark where our square foot is and get our beans in. Like I mentioned, we'll plant 9 per square foot, so we only need 9 beans. So I'll just lay them out first. 3 rows of 3. And then beans are like the easiest things to plant. You just want to make sure they're in the ground pretty deep. We'll just push it in, just like that. After we push all these in, we'll go back and water them. That's as easy it is to plant the green beans. Cover it like that. Then we'll get some leaves and cover it with a nice diced up leaves as a mulch. The fourth crop that I'm still planting in August, well actually I'm going to group 2 together because they're both in the brassica family, and they are kale and cabbage. When it comes to brassicas, something convenient about them is that they'll grow well past your first expected frost date. So when it comes to growing your cabbages, if you think you don't have that much time left, what you can do is, like what I mentioned earlier, is grow some varieties that are quick cropping. For instance, your golden acre cabbage, that's only going to take 62 days, like the ones I have right here. If you try to grow like a mammoth red rock cabbage, that's going to take 100 days. You just may not have the time. So you'll notice my kale right here. It's doing relatively well, and when it comes to kale, those are convenient to plant because we don't have to wait for the actual cabbage head like you would for a cabbage. We can just eat the leaves on the kale, which is super convenient. Come close though, and you'll notice a lot of these lower leaves, they've just gotten destroyed, decimated, eaten by a lot of things. But then as we move up to the new growth, it's beautiful and looks really nice. So what I did was I'm using BT, Bacillus thuringiensis, which is an organic spray, and this year it has made all the difference for me. So in the past I've had issues growing these cabbages and getting the fruit from it, or actually the cabbage head, and getting a lot of the leaves from the kale, and I couldn't really grow them this late into the season because the bugs would just go crazy on them. Now I'm using that BT spray. It's made all the difference for me. I think it will for you too. I'll put a link in the description, and I'm hoping that it'll help you guys get cabbages late into the season, because later into the season is when the cabbage heads can get much bigger because they're not getting ready to ripen when it's getting super hot out. Instead, in the fall when they're ripening, it's much cooler. The fifth crop that I'm still planting in August is beets, and I love these beets so much. These ones happen to be my favorite variety, golden beets, and it's only about 55 or 60 days from seed to harvest. I want to show you right here how I plant my beets. I plant them 9 in a square foot, and you notice there's about 2 or 3 beets per little section. So in the past, I showed you as I harvested some of them, we get about 3 beets in each clump. So 9 times 3, that's like 27 beets maybe in this one little section. I really push for it, but you gotta make sure you're getting beets in the ground now. It's about the perfect time to put them in to make sure you're getting that extra harvest going into fall. The 6th crop that I'm still planting in August are peas. And when it comes to peas, my favorite are the sugar snap peas. I love the sugar and snap. So good, so delicious. Only 60 days to harvest. These peas will grow past your first expected frost date too. So what I like to do is I'll start planting peas now, and then every week or so I'll continue to stagger planting them. This way we extend the season even further. So I want to show you that same concept of what I did right here. So earlier I showed you beans that I was just plugging into the ground, but right here we've got beans a few weeks ahead. So we're going to be getting some harvest from these purple dove bush beans soon, as the other ones I just pulled out. So always trying to make sure we're consistently getting that harvest using staggering and succession planting. This guy's always got his nose going looking for cucumbers. He smells the plant, but he just can't find the cukes. So when it comes to peas, those are super easy to plant. Basically the same thing as the beans I showed you. And I planted all cucumbers here. I left a few little spots for the peas. Just gonna plug them about 6 to 8 inches apart, push them into the ground, cover it up, water it in, and walk away. Let nature do the rest. So right here I planted some beans that I've never tried before. This is a little bit of a more unique variety. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have enough time, but these ones are called the Urizon beans, I think. That's a little different. I believe it's called the winged bean. The 7th crop that I'm still planting in August, well actually there's 2 of them, and they are spinach and lettuce. But I'm not even planting those into the ground just yet because it's still early. I'll be planting my spinach and lettuce later in August and even early in September, because right now it's just, like I said, a little too hot, and I don't want them bolting on me right away. It looks like Tuck found a little cucumber. Let's go check out him and see what he's doing. So I'm going to be planting those spinach and those lettuces out. If you want, you could start some of your lettuces inside and then transplant them out. That's an easy thing to do. When it comes to spinach, it typically doesn't like to be transplanted as much as lettuce does, but I've transplanted spinach in the past and it does well also. The spinach is gonna grow so well late into the season. And Tuck's gonna snack on all these late into the season too. We always have to make sure we've got cucumbers growing and carrots too, just to make sure he's always got his snacks. So let me see if I can grab a carrot for him. See if we can give him maybe just some options on what he wants. I think I got some big carrots in here. Oh yeah, look at this monster. Nice fat carrot. Right, boy? We got a carrot almost as big as a cucumber there. So let's see which one he wants more. That looks like a monster, a Danver carrot or something, or Chantenary. Looks like he wants a cucumber more. I think oh, now he's going back to the carrot. Not a bad life for a dog when you get to go around and harvest some of your own food. I'll let Tuck go play with that carrot and have his fun. Looks like he's gonna try to go to town on it. But I wanted to share with you just a few bonus ones that you could plant still in August too. So a bonus one that you can still plant, and it's very similar to the cucumber, is the squash. Same idea with it. You wanna make sure you're getting quick crop ones. For instance, there's a green machine squash. It only takes about 48 days, a zucchini, from seed to harvest, so there's still time to get that one in the ground. Another one is Swiss chard. You can grow that late into the season too. And radishes, those only take like 4 weeks from seed to harvest. So make sure you're taking advantage of the time. Looks like Tuck's taking advantage of all the carrots that are around, and he's making sure he enjoys them so much. I almost want to grab it from him and have a little bite myself. How you doing over there, boy? So today's a good day to transplant and get some of your stuff out as well. When I transplant stuff and plant seeds, it's convenient on days when it's either really shady out and you have a nice overcast, or you have a little bit of rain, because that rain and that overcast is going to allow the plants a little more time to adjust to their new home and their new environment, rather than having them just throwing them into a new environment that's super hot on a sunny day and just drying them out with strong winds or something. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you get out there and plant some of the stuff and some of the crops that I suggested. And I hope this whole idea of variety selection, it settles in with you a little bit, because you may think, oh, I can't grow cabbages, they take 70 or 80 days. It just might be that variety. So you may be able to get a cabbage variety like I mentioned, the early Jersey Wakefield, which is only like 63 days. So be a little clever with it and push it as far as you can when it comes to the harvest. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends. Don't forget to check out the merch down low. And remember, whenever you're on Amazon, use our Amazon affiliate link to start your shopping. I just wanted to say thank you just to everybody for the support everyone gave me for the last video. It was demoralizing, at first going out there and seeing all the work just being blown over. But when I went to the comment section, there were so many uplifting words, so many encouraging words, and so many people that just shared their kindness with me. It meant so much. And there were also a lot of people who came into the comments and said a tree fell on their house, or it was way worse for them. So that gave a little perspective for me and kind of humbled me a little bit and just helped me realize that, I think I was just being a little bit greedy on the way that I was looking at it. But me and Tuck are so thankful you guys came out for this video, and we hope that we can continue to just bring you a lot of value. So we'll catch you guys real soon. Tuck and James, we